You know that feeling when you finally accomplish something? Something you've been working toward for months, maybe even years. And instead of celebrating, your first thought is, yeah, but it's not that impressive. Anyone could have done it. Or maybe you're scrolling through social media, watching people live their lives, and there's this quiet voice in your head whispering, look at them. They have it all figured out. What's wrong with you? Here's what I need you to understand right now. That voice, it didn't come from you. It was planted carefully, quietly, and probably when you were too young to even realize it was happening. Take a breath, because what I'm about to share with you might feel uncomfortable, but it's also going to set you free. Let me ask you something personal. When you were a child, do you remember a moment, just one moment, where you tried your absolute best at something and the response you got was silence? Or worse, criticism disguised as concern? Maybe you brought home a test with a 92% on it, excited, proud, ready to be celebrated, and the first thing you heard was, "What happened to the other 8%?" Or maybe you drew a picture, wrote a story, built something with your own two hands, and instead of being seen, you were corrected, improved upon, told how it could have been better. Now, here's the thing. The person who said that to you, they probably didn't mean to hurt you. They might have thought they were helping, pushing you to be better, preparing you for a harsh world. But what actually happened was this. You learned that your best was never going to be enough. And that lesson, it didn't stay in childhood. It followed you. It's with you right now, sitting in the back of your mind, quietly running the show. Psychologists call this a core wound, and for so many of us, it's the wound of inadequacy, the deep, aching belief that no matter what we do, no matter how hard we try, we will always fall short. Let's talk about something that doesn't get talked about enough, the mother wound. Now, before you shut down or think this is about blaming your mom, it's not. This is about understanding a pattern, a dynamic, a cycle that gets passed down, often unintentionally, from one generation to the next. Here's how it usually looks. Your mother, whether she realized it or not, may have loved you conditionally, not because she didn't care, but because that's how she was loved. Love in her world came with terms and conditions. You had to be good. You had to be obedient. You had to make her proud. You had to be perfect. And so, without anyone saying it out loud, you learned that love is something you earn. Affection became a reward for good behavior. Approval became a prize for achievement. Connection became something you had to work for, fight for, prove yourself worthy of. And here's the devastating part. You're still doing it. You're still performing, still trying to be good enough, still seeking approval from people who will never give it the way you need it, because deep down, you're trying to earn the love you didn't get unconditionally as a child. Picture this. You're 7 years old. You're standing in the kitchen trying to help your mom with dinner. You're so excited to be useful, to contribute, to make her smile. But you spill something, a small mistake, a childish error. And instead of a hug, instead of, "It's okay, sweetheart, accidents happen," you get a sigh, a look of frustration, maybe even words that sting. Why can't you just be more careful? In that moment, what did you learn? You learned that mistakes equal disappointment, that imperfection equals rejection, that to be loved, you must be flawless. And that's the wound, right there. Fast forward to now. You're an adult. You have responsibilities, goals, maybe even a career you've worked hard for. But no matter how much you achieve, there's this gnawing feeling that it's never quite right, never quite done, never quite enough. You redo emails 3 times before sending them. You apologize for things that aren't your fault. You say yes when you mean no because disappointing someone feels like the worst possible outcome. You've become an expert at reading the room, adjusting your personality, shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that were never designed for the real you. Why? Because somewhere deep inside, you still believe that your worth is tied to how well you please others. Let me tell you something that might be hard to hear. You were never supposed to carry that burden. Your worth was never meant to be conditional. Your value was never meant to be something you had to earn, prove, or defend. But because the people who raised you were operating from their own wounds, their own fears, their own unhealed pain, they passed those patterns down to you. And now you're walking through life with a blueprint that says, be perfect or be rejected. Here's where it gets tricky. You might be thinking, okay, I get it. My childhood wasn't perfect, but I'm an adult now. Shouldn't I just move on? And I hear you, I really do. But here's the truth. Your subconscious mind is like a filing cabinet. Every experience you've ever had, especially the emotional ones, gets stored away. And when something in your present life triggers a similar feeling from your past, your brain pulls out that old file and says, oh, I know this situation. I know what to do here. Except the strategy it chooses, it's the one you learned when you were 6 or 9 or 12. It's the strategy of a child who was just trying to survive, to be loved, to avoid pain. And that's why even though you're capable, intelligent, and deserving of good things, you still sabotage yourself. You still procrastinate. You still talk yourself out of opportunities. You still feel like an imposter in your own life. Let's dig into procrastination for a second, because I know this one hits home for a lot of you. You have a project, a goal, a dream, something you genuinely want to do, but every time you sit down to work on it, you freeze, or you distract yourself, or you convince yourself that now's not the right time. Why? Because starting means risking failure, and failure in your mind means I am not good enough, I am inadequate, I am unworthy. That's the wound talking. When you were a child, mistakes weren't treated as learning opportunities. They were treated as evidence of your shortcomings. And so now, as an adult, the fear of making a mistake is so intense that you'd rather not try at all. At least if you don't try, you can't fail. At least if you don't put yourself out there, you can't be rejected. But here's the cost. You're rejecting yourself first. You're living a smaller life than you were meant for. You're dimming your light because you're terrified someone might tell you it's not bright enough. And then there's comparison. Oh, comparison, the thief of joy, the destroyer of self-worth. You scroll through Instagram and see someone your age who seems to have it all together. The career, the relationship, the body, the life. And instead of feeling inspired, you feel less than. Why does their success make you feel like a failure? Because when you were young, you were compared to others constantly. Your sibling, your cousin, the neighbor's kid. And the message was clear. Someone else is doing better than you, which means you're not doing well enough. So now, every time you see someone thriving, your brain doesn't celebrate them. It uses them as proof of your inadequacy. But here's the reality check you need. Their success has absolutely nothing to do with your worth. There is no scoreboard, no cosmic ranking system, no final judgment declaring who was good enough and who wasn't. You're comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel. And that's not just unfair, it's impossible. And now let's talk about something that might surprise you: the fear of success. You might be thinking, wait, I don't fear success. I want to succeed. That's the whole point. But here's the thing. Deep down, success feels dangerous. Why? Because success means visibility. It means being seen, being noticed, being out in the open where people can judge you, criticize you, tear you down. And when you spent your whole life believing that you're not good enough, the idea of stepping into the spotlight is terrifying. What if people find out you're a fraud? What if they realize you don't actually deserve the good things that are happening to you? What if you succeed and then fail? What if you prove once and for all that you were never supposed to be here? Hey, I need to pause for just a second. If what I'm saying is resonating with you, if you're feeling seen, maybe even a little uncomfortable, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a like, and drop the word enough in the comments, just that one word. Because here's what I want you to know. You are enough right now, exactly as you are. And this video, it's just the beginning of you truly believing that. Now let's keep going. Let's talk about relationships for a minute. Because this wound, this belief that you're not good enough, it shows up everywhere, especially in the people you choose to let into your life. Think about your romantic relationships, your friendships, even your professional relationships. Do you notice a pattern? Maybe you're drawn to people who are emotionally unavailable, people who keep you guessing, people who give you just enough attention to keep you hooked, but never quite enough to make you feel secure. Why do we do this? Because it's familiar. If you grew up feeling like you had to earn love, then relationships where love is freely given feel wrong, uncomfortable, almost suspicious. So instead, you unconsciously seek out dynamics that mirror what you knew as a child: love as a reward, affection as conditional, connection as something you have to constantly work for. And when someone shows up who actually sees you, values you, treats you with consistent kindness, you push them away. You doubt their intentions. You convince yourself they're too good to be true. Because deep down, you don't believe you deserve that kind of love. Here's another painful truth. In trying to please everyone else, you've abandoned yourself. You say yes when you mean no, you minimize your own needs, you prioritize other people's comfort over your own well-being. And why? Because saying no feels selfish, setting boundaries feels mean, taking care of yourself feels indulgent. But let me reframe that for you. Saying no is not selfish, it's self-preservation. Setting boundaries is not mean, it's self-respect. Taking care of yourself is not indulgent, it's essential. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot give what you don't have. And you cannot love others fully if you haven't learned to love yourself first. So here's where we are. You've been carrying a wound that isn't your fault. You've been living out patterns that were taught to you. You've been trying to earn something: worthiness, love, approval, that was always supposed to be yours by default. And now the question is, what do you do with this information? Because awareness is the first step, but it's not the only step. You have to actively choose to rewrite the story. This might sound strange, but it's crucial. You need to grieve. Grieve the moments you weren't celebrated. Grieve the love that felt conditional. Grieve the pressure you carried that was never yours to carry. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to wish things had been different. Because they should have been. You deserved unconditional love. You deserve to make mistakes without fear. You deserve to be seen, heard, valued, just for being you. And grieving that loss doesn't mean you're being dramatic or ungrateful. It means you're being honest. Your past does not define your future. Yes, it shaped you. Yes, it influenced you, but it does not have to control you. Every day you have the opportunity to make different choices, to respond differently, to believe differently. When that old voice shows up, the one that says you're not good enough, pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, is this actually true, or is this an old recording playing on repeat? Most of the time, it's just the recording. Here's a beautiful concept. You can give yourself the love you didn't receive. You can speak to yourself with kindness. You can celebrate your wins no matter how small. You can forgive yourself for your mistakes. You can hold yourself with the tenderness and compassion you deserved as a child. This is called reparenting, and it's one of the most healing things you can do. Talk to yourself the way you wish someone had talked to you back then. I'm proud of you. You did your best, and that's more than enough. It's okay to rest. You don't have to be perfect. You cannot heal in the same environment that made you sick. If the people in your life are still reinforcing the belief that you're not good enough, whether through criticism, comparison, or conditional love, it's time to create distance. And I know that's hard, especially if those people are family. But your healing is more important than keeping the peace. Seek out people who celebrate you, who see your value, who love you not for what you do, but for who you are. Those are your people. That's your tribe. Let me say this as clearly as I can. You were always enough. Before you achieved anything, before you proved anything, before you became anything, you were enough. Your worth was never up for debate. It was never something you had to earn or defend or justify. It just was. And it still is. The fact that you're here, breathing, existing, that's enough. The fact that you survived everything life has thrown at you, that's enough. The fact that you're still trying, still growing, still hoping, that's more than enough. Here's your permission slip. You are allowed to be imperfect. You are allowed to make mistakes. You are allowed to have bad days. You are allowed to not have all the answers. You are allowed to be human. Perfectionism is not a virtue. It's a prison, and you've been locked in it long enough. It's time to let yourself off the hook. So here's what I want you to do. The next time that voice shows up, the one that says you're not good enough, I want you to challenge it. Say out loud, that's not my voice, that's an old story, and I'm writing a new one. And then I want you to do something radical. I want you to be kind to yourself, not because you've earned it, not because you've done enough, but simply because you exist, because you matter, because you're worthy. This journey, this process of healing, of unlearning, of becoming, it's not going to happen overnight. There will be days when you slip back into old patterns, days when the wound feels fresh, days when you doubt everything I've said here. And that's okay. Healing is not linear. It's messy. It's complicated. It's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. But every single step, forward or backward, is progress. Because you're no longer living unconsciously. You're no longer letting your past dictate your future. You're awake, you're aware, and you're choosing differently. And that changes everything. If this video helped you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. Leave a comment. Tell me your story. Let me know what resonated. And remember, you are not broken. You are not too much. You are not beyond repair. You are healing. You are growing. You are enough. Always have been, always will be.